am Dwayna Cooper, and I am here with Dwayne Little, and we are at the beautiful First United Methodist Church here in Dublin, Georgia. And we're going to talk to you about an event that's upcoming here, but I thought with your name being Dwayne and my name being Dwayna, I would take this opportunity to tell our viewers a little bit about me. I've hosted a few segments for TV 35 so far, but I don't think that I've really explained to people who I am. My father's name was Dwayne also, therefore my name is Dwayna. And I'm a local realtor here in town, and Ron reached out to me and asked me if I'd like to do some local segments here on TV 35, and I said, sure, why not? And so I like to focus my segments on really good stuff that's happening in the community, and that is why we are here to talk to you today. This is, once again, Dwayne Little, and we are at the First United Methodist Church, and we're going to talk a little bit about you, and then we're going to talk about some really good stuff that's coming up here. So talk about you and how you got here to this church. What path, led us to even be having this conversation today?
Sure. I've had the privilege of playing here as part of this very concert for over 20 years and have made some wonderful lifelong friends just from sharing in ministry, through keyboard music, through serving in the church, from visiting Dublin and now being a resident in Dublin for 2 years, a little over 2 years actually, 2.5. And just counted a privilege to be able to be in a community that's coming up and has so much going on and have a dedicated group of people that are practicing their faith the way that our downtown churches and some of our other churches are just doing a wonderful job with. So.
Well, that's great. So we are talking about this event, and it's called Keyboard Praise. So tell our viewers, somebody who has no idea about this event, what this event is, the history of it, like how it got started. Give us a good background on what this is to a new person.
We have a friend, Hank Opplinger, who was serving churches in Georgia back in the day that it was first created, probably about 30 years ago. Was at a local Waycross congregation and decided to put together his first keyboard praise and have numbers of pianos put together with organ music to just bring it together in a new format that would be something unique that people aren't used to seeing every week when they go to church. And it's kind of survived through the years. So it's had different regenerations through his church in Illinois. I participate every year in October. We put 10 grands together, and their organ's about 150 ranks. Brass choir, handbell choir, so he has a lot of facility. Henry King, who was at First United Methodist Church for 25 years, became a close personal friend of mine after he invited me to be a part of this praise team and participate with their concert here. Normally we've had between 4 pianos, keyboard, or the organ participating in concerts. So we've just tried to rotate. We've had 5 at one time. So it's just unique to try to fit in as much as you can and use whoever you have. There's a core team that participates in using arrangements and improvising with them and just kind of trying to coagulate it as a group to be something that's relevant to especially hymn tunes, that those historical tunes that so many people know and love, that we can do an ensemble that represents them in a way that's interesting to people. And it's about pulling in more musicians together and letting them function in a different way than we normally would get a chance to. So.
Well, that's great. So, and it's going to be here on this stage. You're going to have 5 pianos here, and
we'll have 4 grands this time.
4 grands. It's going to be a hymnal dueling pianos event, I guess.
Yes.
So, additionally, I have heard from people that this is a very emotional event. Can you talk to us just about kind of the spirituality and the things that you've seen happen at these events in the past?
Well, I think people are very emotionally stirred about things that historically have brought authentic, very committed messages of ministry in their life. So when you're working with familiar scriptural things that have spiritual concepts, you're reminded of those blessings in your life. And music is the language that we get to choose to do it with. So
absolutely.
It's a beautiful service. We have soloists that can be a part of it, sometimes with instruments. And we have John Morgan from Vidalia First that is be coming to play with us again this year. Henry King is going to be returning to come back with him. Frank Noonan and he will be playing a duet, and we normally just work between the worship team itself, solos, duets, different ensembles, however we can put them together. Sing along with the congregation. They get to be a part of it too. They have narrations that talk about the history, talk about the composers or the historical significance of that hymn tune.
Oh,
so it's
great.
just a really interesting concept behind the way it's presented. So.
Wonderful. So, and that is going to be here and at First United Methodist Church, and we're on Gaines Street behind the Morris State Bank here in downtown Dublin. And date and time for the event?
January 27th, Sunday night at 7 p.m.
January 27th at 7 p.m. Well, I'm very excited personally to come because it's a new event for me, and so I'm excited. And when we come back, we'll talk to Mr. Henry King, who's also involved in this event. I wanted to ask you though, I bet it takes a lot of behind the scenes to put on something like this. Is there anything that you'd like to just add about that's super interesting, or anybody you'd like to really praise?
Well, we have a good group of guys, and we've been playing together for a lot of years. There's some significant changes from one program to the other because we're all pretty opinionated. We get to insert our own little isms where we can, and a lot of things we don't actually know until we get together how well the ensemble is going to work. But the main framework comes from a program that Hank usually outlines for his situation in Illinois, and then we kind of convert it around and put it together our own way. And then, of course, the improvisation is really probably the most fascinating part of any of it to newcomers, just the fact that we use improvisation in such a free style in a worship service where they're used to hearing something very strict, especially including the organ. So
that's wonderful. I look forward to that.
Thanks.
And we'll see everybody here at the First United Methodist Church on the 27th at 7 p.m. And now we are talking to the youthful Mr. Henry King. He is the music director at Jefferson Street Baptist currently.
That's correct.
But you were here at this church in the music program for over 25 years. Is that correct?
That is correct, right. And I actually brought the keyboard praise to Dublin when I was here at the First United Methodist, yes.
And I hear that you're multi-talented. You do some playing at the country club. You're like still a really busy man, is that right?
For 78 years old, I think I do fairly well, yes.
I think so.
Yes.
And some bingo and like lots of things
I do
going
bingo
on, right?
and trivia and play the piano and direct music.
That's
So,
wonderful. So talk to us a little bit about this event specifically, what it means to you, what this church means to you, how you wrangle these people together and make this into a cohesive program.
Well, it started out, as Dwayne has already told you, Hank and I became friends at a conference in Callaway Gardens, right. And he was telling me that he had this program that he did, and I thought, well, Dublin needs something like that. So we made arrangements to do that, I think in about 1989, and we did our first one with 3 pianos and the organ, and it has continued ever since, either here or at Jefferson Street, one of the two.
Well, tell me what's special about this program. Is it something that everybody from a youthful person into a senior adult would enjoy?
I believe so, because we do all different styles of music from all different eras. And we'll do everything from gospel music to even some contemporary music, and certainly the hymns of the church that are in between. So there is something and a unique style for everyone to enjoy.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Once again, I think I will hope the community will come out and support this event. It sounds amazing. I'm enjoying learning about it, and I think it sounds great. So once again, it's the 27th. That's a Sunday night at 7 p.m.
That is correct.
And this young man will be here playing, and in between, you can catch him at the country club.
Right.
How about that? Thank you so much.
Very nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Will, and this is my wife, Babs, and I grew up in Dublin. And Babs and I met at the University of Georgia when we were in college. After dating a while, we got married, moved off to North Carolina for seminary, and then towards the end of seminary, we got a call from First Baptist, and there was opening for a youth ministry position.
We had found a house before we moved down to Dublin. The day we were supposed to move to Dublin, we found out that that house wasn't going to work out.
So we called up Susan and the team and just asked, where do we begin? Where do we start? You know, what do we need to do to make this move forward?
They were very patient with us and trying to find, with our new salaries, a house, and working with us to get those numbers correct so that we could purchase the house that we're in now. So they helped us not only once but twice through the whole process. So.
We had questions and we didn't know really who to ask, and so we really just directed all of them to Morris Bank, and we would ask Susan or we would speak with one of her teammates, and whether it was something that they were supposed to know or answer, they usually always helped or would find the answer for us. And so it really just made the process, you know, very easy and reassured us that they knew what they were doing even though we had no idea what we were doing, and that it was just a very smooth process. Just walking through the door the first time, just imagining that our family was going to get started there. It was just a really exciting time to think about all the possibilities because of a home, and that we could share that with friends and family.